Shalom, Zion. So I want to give all praises and glory to the great I am. So I want to talk about a subject that you don't hear too much about. Manna power in the wilderness. You ever wonder why the Most High chose manna? What was significant about manna? And what was the purpose behind it? Was the Most High trying to tell us something with this? Was it something that the Most High was trying to lead us to or get us on that next level that we may have not understood? Well, we're going to go through some scriptures and we're going to get some answers, because you're going to see that there are some very powerful applications in here that are very prophetic, that leads all the way up to our current day of what the Most High is getting ready to do with his people. But before we go on, let's see roughly how many Negroes came out of Egypt, so we can have like a broad number of how many people the Most High was dealing with. So let's go to Exodus chapter 12, and make sure you write these down. Exodus chapter 12, and let's look at verse 36. Starting with verse 36. Exodus chapter 12 and verse 36. And it says, "And Yahweh gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, so that they lent unto them such things as required, and they spoiled the Egyptians." Verse 37. "And the children of Israel journeyed from Ramses to Succoth, about 600,000 on foot that were men, besides children." So one thing you got to understand throughout the scriptures, when the Most High numbered the people, he always numbered the men. All right, so we're looking at about 600,000 on foot. Now, assuming that majority of these brews were married, had wives, so that's another pretty much 600,000, and then children, you got to add the children too. So we're probably talking about roughly about a little bit over 2 million, maybe. There's not a pinpoint exact number we can go by, but just using these calculations, you can kind of just see a ballpark figure, pretty much maybe 2 million or more. It was a lot, though. It was a lot, because our people had grown over those years that they were there in captivity. And we're not going to include the mixed multitude, because they were to be servants anyway. So we're not even talking about them. That's a whole another thing. But the main point is to show you roughly how many Israelites left Egypt. Now go ahead and turn your Bibles to Exodus chapter 16. Exodus chapter 16, and we're going to start with verse 15. That's Exodus chapter 16, and we're going to start with verse 15. And it goes on to say, "And when the children of Israel saw it, they said one to another, It is manna, for they wished not what it was. And Moses said unto them, This is the bread which Yahweh hath given you to eat." Verse 16. "This is the thing which Yahweh hath commanded. Gather of it every man according to his eating, an omer for every man according to the number of your persons. Take ye every man for them which are in his tents." Okay, same chapter, Exodus chapter 16. Let's jump down to verse 22. And it says, "And it came to pass that on the 6th day they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for one man, and all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses." Now, some of y'all probably wondering what is an omer. So basically, it's just a sheaf. I'll put something up here so you can see it. Sheaf, also omer, as a dry measure. So it's pretty much a measure. So that's what that is. All right, let's continue on to verse 23. Same chapter, Exodus chapter 16 and verse 23. And it goes on to say, "And he said unto them, This is that which Yahweh hath said, Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Shabbat of Yahweh. Bake that which ye will bake today, and seeth that ye will seeth, and that which remaineth overlay up for you to be kept until the morning." All right, so same chapter, Exodus 16. Let's jump down to verse 26. And it says, 6 days ye shall gather it, but on the 7th day which is the Shabbat, in it there shall be none. So in other words, the Most High did not rain down manna on the seventh day. He gave a double portion on the sixth day. Now watch what happens in verse 27. And it came to pass that there went out some of the people on the seventh day for to gather, and they found none. You always have those knuckleheads. Now, one thing I find so profound is the fact that how the Most High reigned, or he gave a double portion to our forefathers, but did not give anything on the Shabbat, indicating that the Shabbat is an everlasting Shabbat, even before we were created. Now, let me prove that to you. Let's go to the book of Jubilees. That's the book of Jubilees, chapter 2. And we're going to start at verse 31, and we're going to read verse 32. All right, so the book of Jubilees, chapter 2, starting with verse 31. And it goes on to say, and they shall not bring in nor take out from house to house on that day. For that day is more holy and blessed than any Jubilee day of the Jubilees. On this we kept Shabbat in the heavens before it was made known to any flesh to guard the Shabbat thereon on the earth. Verse 32. And the Creator of all things blessed it, and he did not sanctify all people. You hear that? He did not sanctify all people and nations to guard the Shabbat thereon, but Yasharal alone. Break that down. Only Israelites alone. Them alone he permitted to eat and drink and guard the Shabbat thereon on the earth. So y'all better recognize the Shabbat is more sacred than we can even imagine. We can't even scratch the surface. All right, so let's look at verse 31, Exodus chapter 16 and verse 31. It says, and the house of Israel called the name thereof manna, and it was like unto coriander seed, white, and the taste of it was like wafers made with honey. Now, something I wanted to bring out, because this is not bread. A lot of people think that manna was bread. We all know that bread will make you bloated. So the Most High will not give us anything that's going to cause any kind of issues in our bodies. So when you look at manna, this thing is so powerful because who was it made by? You know, it came from heaven. So we know that it was probably made by the angels. And you're talking about something so powerful. Why wouldn't you not want something like this? Who knows what the properties in this manna, what it was doing to our forefathers' body? I mean, I'm talking about just bringing us on a level of such a high-minded level, high vibration like we've never seen before. But see, our people complained. They wanted the flesh. So just like the Bible calls manna bread, it's just like what the Bible calls herbs and stuff like that meat. Let me prove it to you. So let's go to the book of Genesis, chapter 1 and verse 29. Most of you already know what that says. The book of Genesis, chapter 1 and verse 29. And it says, and Yahweh said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed, to you it shall be for meat. So meat doesn't mean flesh at all. Just in this context, just talking about substance. It wasn't until after the flood where flesh eating came into play, but there was a way that it had to be prepared, especially when our people were in the wilderness, when they had to make sacrifices and eat the meat. All the blood had to be drained out of it. We were not to eat anything with blood, so we would call that in modern day kosher meat. But getting back to the manna, and what I'm really trying to bring out is the fact that we were in Egypt. We were consumed in their culture. We were consumed in their eating habits. We were consumed with their problems, their diseases in our body. So when the Most High brought us out of the wilderness, he knew exactly what he was doing when he gave us manna. See, the Most High never, ever does our people harm. Never, ever means harm for our people. It's because we're so stubborn and we don't want to, we want to continue to be stuck and stay in captivity, which is beyond me, What the Most High was trying to clean out our systems. He was trying to bring us on a higher level. But we didn't want that. But let me show you one thing you got to understand. Is the Most High will let you do your thing. If you want to complain and you want to go opposite of the Most High will allow you to do that. But let me show you what happened when our forefathers did that. All right, so let's go to Exodus chapter 16. And we're going to start with verse 2. Exodus 16 and verse 2. And then we're going to go to the book of Numbers as well and look at something. So Exodus 16 verse 2. And it says, "And the whole congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness." Verse 3. "And the children of Israel said unto them, Would to Yahweh we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the flesh pots, and when we did eat bread to the full. For ye have brought us forth into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger." So, the people were complaining after they saw all the miracles that the Most High showed them in the wilderness. I mean, come on, y'all. All right, so let's go to the book of Numbers, chapter 11. That's Numbers 11. And we're going to start with verse 4. This is why I like the book of Numbers, because it really bounces off of Exodus and gives a little more details. All right, so starting with verse 4 of Numbers 11. It says, "And the mixed multitude," remember we read about that mixed multitude earlier. It talks about that in Exodus 16, who was to be servants. See, this is why, brothers and sisters, they should have just left. They should have just left that mixed multitude right there in Egypt. But you know how people are. They love to mingle. They love to, what about them? Did we bring them too? They've been so nice to us and everything. They should have left that mixed multitude right there back in Egypt. Forget them servants. They always cause trouble for our people throughout the whole scriptures. And then they end up, when the Bible says that the stranger that dwells among you shall get high above you, that's exactly what happened. This is what happened to us because our people started treating their servants as equals. And when you do that, you're asking for trouble. That's why the Most High says when he come back, he's going to rule with a rod of iron. There ain't going to be no equality. All right, so let me read that again. Numbers chapter 11 and verse 4. "And the mixed multitude that was among them fell a lusting, and the children of Israel also wept again and said, Who shall give us flesh to eat?" Wow. So, "And the mixed multitude that was among them fell a lusting, and the children of Israel also," it says also wept. So these are not this mixed multitude and Israel are not the same people. All right. So it's because it says, "And the children of Israel also wept again." So they're following the lead of this doggone mixed multitude, which should have been left back in Egypt. "And said, Who shall give us flesh to eat?" Verse 5. "We remember the fish which we did eat in Egypt freely, the cucumbers and the melons and the leeks and the onions and the garlic." Boy, so they throwing that all out there. You know what that does to our people. All right, verse 6 goes on to say, "But now our soul is dried away. There is nothing at all beside this manna before our eyes." All right, so let's jump down to verse 20 of Numbers chapter 11. Verse 20, and it says, "But even a whole month until it come out at your nostrils." Now, I can't even begin to imagine what that looks like. That's crazy. "And it be loathsome unto you, because that ye have despised Yahweh which is among you, and have wept before him, saying, Why come we forth out of Egypt?" So, the Most High is going to allow and give his people what they want, but he's going to do it in a way where you're going to regret it. And they regretted it too. Now, couldn't you just imagine what Moshe had to deal with, dealing with our stiff-necked forefathers? That had to have been a sight. That was crazy. But look what Moses said. Moshe, look what he says. Verse 14 of Numbers chapter 11, verse 14. It says, "I am not able to bear all this people alone, because it is too heavy for me." Verse 15. And if thou deal thus with me, kill me, I pray thee, out of hand, if I have found favor in thy sight, and let me not see my wretchedness. Moshe was just to the point where this, forget this. This kills me. I can't deal with these people. But of course, the Most High gave him help and everything. But just seeing this image, painting this image before you, it was crazy. We know how it ends. We know what goes on, and this is why the Most High allowed our people to punish our people to wander for 40 years. I mean, it was crazy. It didn't have to be that way. It was only a 3-day journey. And all the Most High was doing was trying to bring our people, by giving us manna, was bring us on that higher plane. Who knows what would have happened if we just had obeyed the Most High? Who knows? Most High could have brought the kingdom down right then and there had we just obeyed. But hey, our people, we know how it is. And captivity after captivity is the same thing. And this is why the Most High had to purge many of our people during this 40-year wandering. Didn't have to be that way. But the Most High will get to a point where he will humble his people. No matter how stiff-necked they've been in the past, they always came to a point where they were humble. And it's going to be the same thing for us in these days before the Most High comes. He is going to put us in a position where we're going to have no other choice but to be humble. Now let's go back to Exodus chapter 16. Turn your Bibles back to Exodus chapter 16. And let's look at verse 35. And it says, And the children of Israel did eat manna 40 years. Until they came to a land inhabited, they did eat manna. Until they came unto the borders of the land of Canaan. So the Most High continued to feed them manna. And you know what's so glorious about this? They didn't even have to go out and hunt. Not once. They didn't have to go out and hunt for food. And that's powerful. The Most High fed them in the wilderness. Their clothes didn't wear out. Their sandals didn't wear out. But it's sad that we had to get to a point where we had to be like that. It was sad that it had to take 40 years. It's sad that it has to take over 6,000 years to be delivered. It's crazy. But hey, it is what it is. And see, the power of this manna was to really bring our bodies to the next level. The Most High wanted to restore what was lost in Eden. He could have restored it in us. He could have restored it in us in the wilderness if our people had just straight up obeyed. But our people didn't want that. See, every time the Most High tries to elevate us, we always shoot him down. We always fight against our Creator. We got to stop doing that, because the more we do that, the more we self-destruct. And granted, this manna was made by holy hands. It was for our good. Now, fast forward today. Now, even though, brothers and sisters, I truly believe that the Most High has used this as a lesson, because you look how corrupt everything is, everything that we eat. Now, I'm not telling you to stop eating your chicken and whatever. You do what you want to do. But we all know, we all know that food is used as a weapon. And in order to have clear minds, a lot of times we have to make a change in what we eat. And hey, I'm going to tell you something. If the Most High brings back manna again, when we go into the wilderness a second time, I'm all for it. And y'all better not be complaining, because I'm going to be stabbing some people in the neck. Y'all going to start complaining like that. Don't be around me and start complaining about manna, because we ain't going back to that stuff no more, y'all. We're done with that. And just so you know, we were only allowed conditions to eat the clean foods after the flood, as the Most High described. But that doesn't mean that things would not be corrupted. I mean, you fast forward today, everything is corrupted. Everything. That's why if you can grow your own food, grow your own food. Plant your own vineyards and all that stuff, because everything is so corrupt now. That's all I'm saying, brothers and sisters. And that's what the Most High was trying to bring us to. And I truly believe that he's trying to bring us to that level now. When Adam allowed his woman to trick him and convince him that it was okay to eat the forbidden fruit, everything just became a domino effect. Everything just started to fall after another, and just look, fast forward now, here we are, thousands of years later. And we're constantly doing stuff that's constantly against us. We were never to be eating flesh in the first place. That was never in the Most High's will. But again, he gave us conditions on doing it. If we did follow the Levitical law, the dietary law, and make sure the blood is drained out of it. The only way that we're going to come back to the Most High, you all, is that we're going to have to submit, Zion. We're going to really have to submit to the will of the Most High. And that means giving up your will, giving up your desires, giving up your taste buds and what have you. Giving up these fleshly conditions, these fleshly desires. We're going to have to give that stuff up. You might not like it, but it's going to happen because guess what? When he comes the second time, it ain't going to be a pretty sight. And we're going to go there. So go ahead and turn your Bibles to turn your Bibles to Ezekiel. Ezekiel chapter 20. We're going to look at a few things and bring a few things out. So go ahead and turn to Ezekiel chapter 20. And let's start with verse 34. That's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 20. And we're going to start with verse 34. Because this is going to be similar to what the Most High did for us when he brought us out of the land of Murmuring, or Egypt. The only difference is that when he brought us out of Egypt, we were all gathered into one place in the land of Goshen. But this time, we're going to be gathered from all the scattered locations where we're at right now. We're currently at. Our people are scattered to the four corners. All right, let's get into the word. Ezekiel chapter 20 and verse 34. And it goes on to say, and I will bring you out from the people. Read that again. And I will bring you out from the people and will gather you out of the countries wherein ye are scattered with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out. So let's just go over these three things. He says that with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out. See, we think these storms that we're seeing, is the judgment, but this ain't nothing. I mean, this is just the beginning. Yeah, these are just little things the Most High is just breathing out, not even snapping his fingers. But when he gets ready to get down, we're going to see all hell break loose. Let's look at verse 35. And it goes on to say, and I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face. Now, this ain't a plea where he's begging us to, hey, turn from our ways. It's either you do what I say, or I'm going to kill you, or you're going to die. You're going to get purged. That's what that's talking about. See, the Most High is not coming back with this loving spirit. And, he's going to love his people, but he's not coming back like he did the first time. He's coming back with fury. He's coming back with power. Let's look at verse 36. It says, like as I pleaded with your forefathers in the wilderness of the land of Mizraim, so will I plead with you, says Yahweh. Now, one thing you got to understand, this is like a repeat. It's like you have flashbacks. When you read Ezekiel chapter 20, it's like you start to begin to have flashbacks of what our people had to go through. He says, I will plead like I pleaded with your forefathers in the wilderness, in the land of Egypt. How did he plead with us? He had to purge our people. Over a span of 40 years, he had to purge our people. Now, does that mean that the Most High is going to rain down manna again? We don't know that. It's a possibility. I believe so. I believe if it's not manna, it's going to be something similar to it. But I know one thing, we're not going to have to hunt for our food. We're not going to have to go out to the ends and try to gather up stuff and hunt and everything. We're not going to have to do that. Everything is going to be provided. Let's look at verse 37. And I will cause you to pass under the rod and will bring you into the bond of the covenant. His covenant is his law. It has not changed. All right, verse 38. And I will purge out from among you the rebels and them that transgress against me, I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Yasharal, and ye shall know that I am Yahweh. Notice ain't no mixed multitude this time, because those mixed multitudes got our people jacked up in the wilderness when we first came out of Egypt. Messed our people totally up. That's because our people was just trying to mingle with them and follow their lead. Can't do that. Now, I know there's some of you out there that don't believe that we're not going to be delivered like this. I know some of you probably look at this and say, well, the Most High is not going to deliver us. We're going to have to deliver ourselves. And some of you are trying to do that now. Some of you are trying to move to Africa. But I'll tell you this. If you're trying to flee or move somewhere because you're trying to get away from a Babylonian system, then you just fail, because no matter where you go in this world, you're going to be under this Babylonian system. It's a worldwide thing. All right? It is a worldwide thing. Now, if you just want to move because you want to be around your own people, then that's all good. I got it. You know what I'm saying? And if you got the means to do it and you research everything, I say go for it. You know? But we have to start preparing ourselves. We got to start preparing our minds and our bodies, because the word says that our body is the temple of the Most High. So, brothers and sisters, what we put in our bodies will matter in these days that are coming and beyond. And so the reason why I brought up manna and wanted to talk about manna is because we have to truly understand the whole purpose. Why did the Most High give us manna? And we saw that in the wilderness. The Most High was just trying to cleanse our minds and our bodies. And who knows what could he have done with us had we just obeyed and followed. I'm telling you, we probably could have had some serious powers back then. And Zion, y'all can't ignore the fact that all this food is corrupt. Everything, even the clean stuff the Most High gave us permission to eat, is even corrupt. Did y'all hear about how McDonald's, they're now coming up reports that, rumors that McDonald's is supposedly been using human meat. And ain't no telling how they're making our foods these days, because they can't keep up with the population. You know how many chickens they got to raise and cows they got to kill and all that kind of stuff to try to feed everybody? That's a lot of stuff. So, I mean, it would make sense why they would try to create some generic method or some meat or something like that. So I would not be surprised if they were using that. And I know some of you are probably vegans, and that's good, because if you are, then you're in a better position, you know, for a clear mind. So we got to look at what's going on and look at the signs, what the Most High is trying to tell us. And it is our duty to prepare ourselves mentally and spiritually, even if that means giving up some things, giving up some stuff that we dearly love. But we got to be able to think clearly. I know many of you fast on a regular basis. However you do that, that's between you and the Most High. But we have to start preparing ourselves to get ready to meet the Most High. So you do it. You do that. You endure to the end. And you keep on living for the Most High the best way you can, even until the grave, even until death. That's all we can do. All right? It's not going to come no quicker. The Most High already has a designated time where he's going to come back. And we can't be getting weary on him. This is not no time to give up. It's not no time to become faint. This is a time to work even harder towards the mark. And because we're seeing a lot of signs, we're seeing a lot of things that are happening on this earth. And the Most High is slowly raising his people up, while at the same time, he is slowly destroying our enemies, and it's going to increase and increase even more. And you think they hate us now, you wait. They're going to really be coming after us. They're already trying to kill us with these crazy jabs and stuff. You know, but we know the deal. So with that being said, I pray that you are edified. I pray that we can receive the Most High, so when we go back out into the wilderness again, that we don't be complaining. All right? And if the Most High gives us manna to eat for whatever time we're going to be in the wilderness, so be it. Y'all better not say one complaining word. I better take that manna and enjoy it, because the Most High is going to bring us on that level. And I'm telling you, we're going to be a powerful people. So I'll say shalom and stay strong.
I gotta thank Yahweh for being the chosen seed of Israel. Here's the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of the Yah and the faith of Mashiach. Whoa, yeah. I gotta thank Yahweh for being the chosen seed of Israel. Here's the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of the Yah and the faith of the Mashiach. Yo, yeah, whoa. I'm here to encourage you, brothers and sisters, trying to paint to you a better picture. Everything I say, I back it up with the scriptures to get you out the matrix. It's been over 400 years of life. You gotta open up your eyes, 'cause there's so many reasons we in captivity. You gotta flee from the heathens. There is hope in our future, even though they trying to do us in. But we live to fight another day. Vengeance is to Yah. We'll be praying for Yahweh. I gotta thank Yahweh for being the chosen seed of Israel. Here's the patience of the saints. Whoa. Here are they that keep the commandments of the Yah, and the faith of Mashiach. Oh, whoa, whoa, yeah, yeah. I gotta thank Yahweh for being the chosen seed of Israel. Here's the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of the Yah and the faith of the Mashiach. Whoa, hey, hey, whoa, whoa, do do da da da, do be do be do be do da da, do be do 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 da da, do 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 da do, be do da do 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 da 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 da, do be do be do 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 da 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 da.